from Nashville, Tennessee. It's the Three. And here's your host, Laura Harris-Smith.
Hi everybody, I'm Laura Harris-Smith. Welcome to The Three. We have a great author with us today. Her name is Peggy Sue Wells. She's the author of The 10 Best Decisions a Single Mom Can Make. Do you know a single mom? Are you a single mom? I was raised by a single mom until my bonus dad came along. And it's a book that needs to be read, and you know somebody who needs it. So we're going to talk to her today. But Peggy, you are an author of 30 books, a USA Today and Wall Street Journal best-selling author. I mean, how did you get into this? Because you also have 7 children.
Right.
So how did converge those two worlds for us? When did you start writing?
I started writing in college. So I was on the newspaper, and then I was in the newspaper business before I started having children.
Wow.
So then I just brought the writing home.
Okay.
And I write because I can't do math.
Yes.
I just can't.
I understand.
So, yeah, so it's the one thing I do. And so when I finally realized this is the one thing I do, it's what I do, and I love it.
Oh.
Love it. There's a lot of messages to share.
30 books in 8 languages.
They've been translated, yes. And there's
you don't speak 8 languages. I'm thinking,
no.
I'm really impressed. So then, no, actually, that's, I think, a couple more than I have translations. Wow. So then you are, so this is published by, I'm so sorry.
That's Baker Publications.
It is Baker. Okay,
yep.
of course. Yep. So we are fellow authors.
Yay.
You're with Baker Books. I'm over at Chosen, another one of their imprints. And this was a co-write with Pam Farrell.
Yes, and I hounded Pam Farrell. She's a friend of mine, but I went after her to co-author this book. And she said, Peggy Sue, why don't you get another single mom? And I said, because you are the child of a single mom. And Pam, if you watch Pam and Bill Farrell's ministry, they travel the world, and they have a great marriage, and they're encouraging marriage, and they're strengthening marriage. And so I told her the thing that she brings to the book was that this is an experience, it's not our identity.
Right.
And so I wanted single moms to know, for you and for your children, this is just an experience, not your identity, and you are free to still move forward and have a terrific life.
Right. Okay, so in the book, you talk about, and you give scripture even, I mean, sage advice, all of that, on being decisive, creating a nurturing home. These are really practical things that you use day to day. How many tips are they going to find in here?
That is packed with tips.
It's
because
packed,
Pam
jam-packed.
and I both raised our families, and we're like, what worked? And so we put only in there the stuff that works and works really well, because that's what moms need.
Right.
I've had people read it that are not single parents, but they're like, well, you read it for the parenting information, and it works for us too. But yeah, we just put as much good, nurturing stuff in there as possible.
So your other 30 books are about what?
I'm a little bit scattered. So I have kids books, I have library books, I have fiction books, I have nonfiction. I just released a brand new fiction for a series called the Mark Wayne series.
Wow.
And the book is called The Patent, and I love that. So yeah,
That's
so I
not
write fiction
scattered,
too.
that's called talented.
Talented.
Yeah, don't apologize for that one. All right, so then at what point, and then now we're getting into your journey, did you become passionate about single motherhood?
About the time I became one.
Right.
And what's funny is my grandmother was single mom for a while. Her husband was killed in World War II. My mother was a single mom for a while. I was mostly raised with a single mom. And then, so I'm determined. I'm going to make this work.
I read that. You were like, that's not going to happen to me.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened?
What happens is you can't control another human.
Yeah, that's the
because
truth.
if it was possible, I'd have done it.
That is the truth.
You can't.
That's the best way to put it. When the will of another person is involved, even the prayers you pray to God are, it's not that they're hindered, but they are affected by, and especially the timing of them is impacted by their free will.
Right, and they get to choose. And so we met together as a family because things were escalating, and said, you got to make a choice, you know, either you fix it or choose out. And he chose out, and again, we get to make choices. And marriage is a covenant. And it's like any other covenant. One side can break it, or both sides can break it. You can renegotiate sometimes, and then sometimes it's a split. In Jeremiah, God says, I give my bride a certificate of divorce. And so I want really churches to understand that, because they've been kind of afraid of dealing with single moms and dealing with the whole divorce situation. But it's not the unforgivable sin. And we can recover. And also, God is not surprised. It didn't take him by surprise that my children wound up living in a single-parent home. He wasn't surprised that I did. He uses all these things. The plans that he has are there. They're good. And so it's learning to know this is for me, not to me.
Yes, that's important. And then you're approaching it from a position of victory, not like you're trying to attain it, but you're already there. And then you're realizing I'm not the victim.
No, because in everything God is trying to teach me something, and so whatever's coming at me, it's like, okay, God, because I used to get, oh gosh, I was so bitter, I was so not fun. I could walk into a room, suck all the good air right out of it. So I went through a lot of counseling, a lot of work with a therapist and with a mentor, and in order to get what was still holding me back to be able to shift it. And so now it's like, okay, God, this is happening. What are you teaching me about you that I'm going to learn through this?
There are 10 chapters in this book. Every single one of them begins with the same word.
Decide. Decide.
And of course, that's in the title, decisions, but that is where it is. You have to make the choice. When it comes down to it, and no matter what anyone else has done to you, you have to decide your next move. So how did you land there? And because that really is empowering. It gives you control back. Like they did this to me, but now I'm making this decision. Talk about some of those decisions with us.
The reason moms, you can watch single moms and watch their children, and you're like, what are they thinking? You watch their behavior. What are they thinking? They're not, because they can't. When we go into trauma, because most single moms are single, they initially started out in a committed relationship. They did not plan to do this. So when they're raising their children, and then they've had this really important person leave, and so for the kids. So they're all in trauma. And when you go into trauma, the thinking part of your brain goes offline. So now you're back here in fight, flight, freeze, or please. Which is great if a bear is chasing you.
If a bear is chasing you, running out of a burning building.
Exactly.
but not for life.
No, when I'm trying to teach my kids and make good decisions for them, I can't make good decisions when I most need to. So we took that book to say, let's get your thinking part of your brain back online so that as a mom, you can make the best decisions that you need to make. And they need help, because making that switch in your brain doesn't come easy. And when you're going through that situation, sometimes there's court issues, there's visitation issues, there's relocation issues.
There's heart issues. Like it's just
broken hearts. And the trauma doesn't go away. So we have to know how to fix it so that we can think.
Well, when we come back from the break, I want to talk about more of these decisions. You have a job to do. Meanwhile, get on the phone and tell somebody to tune in to what we're doing right now, because you know someone, if it's not you yourself, who needs help from today's show and from this book. Be right back.
Hi, I'm Laura Harris-Smith, inventor of Quiet Brain Essential Oil Blend. If you would have told me 2 years ago when I was mixing that very first little bottle that we would have thousands of customers from all over the world, and that we'd have to quadruple our staff to keep up with the demand produced by our international TV infomercial, I'm not sure I would have believed you. And if you told me I'd be hearing regular testimonies of improved sleep, reduced stress, migraine relief, even help with other neurological challenges like seizures, PTSD, tremors, muscle spasms, even anxiety, well, I probably would have cried. And sometimes when I'm reading the Quiet Brain testimony, I do. But if you would have told me 1 year ago when we introduced our Quiet Brain Variety Gift Box that it would become the biggest selling item on our online store at quietbrainoil.com, I would have said, I believe it. The reason is because I created the gift box to be the perfect combination of all of our Quiet Brain products. The oil itself for topical use on the skin that contains only certified pure oils that can cross the blood-brain barrier and bring speedy relief and neurological support. And our aromatherapy line with our Quiet Brain shampoo and conditioner, candles, inhalers, all of which use the nasal passages to gain direct access to the limbic brain, which is the emotional center of the brain. So whether you need to use Quiet Brain topically or aromatherapeutically, the Quiet Brain gift box has everything that you need. And now we've given our gift box an upgrade without increasing the price. It now comes with our satin Quiet Brain Sleep Eye Mask. Just put a few drops of oil on the nose guard and you're on your way to enjoying a good night's sleep. And it all comes packaged in a beautiful gift box and delivered to the destination of your choice or sent to you so you can use it for 7 different gifts or keep a few for yourself. When sold separately, the items in the box are $160, but you're getting it for $135. That's a $25 savings, meaning that you're getting the nasal inhaler and the shampoo and conditioner for free. The Quiet Brain gift box comes with 1 Whisper Quiet Nightlight diffuser with 16 color options and intermittent mist options, 1 dropper bottle of Quiet Brain, 1 Quiet Brain nasal inhaler, 1 Quiet Brain candle, the satin sleep eye mask, and your healing shampoo and conditioner. And remember, both are color safe, aloe enriched, paraben and sulfate free, loaded with wonderful ingredients like unscented coconut oil, olive oil, sugar beet betaine, and of course the Quiet Brain blend with its 8 essential oils like lavender, frankincense, myrrh, sandalwood, and more. We get repeated testimonies of both being used with great effectiveness during headaches for pain relief. So go to quietbrainoil.com to order. Quiet Brain is a great gift for any time of the year, but especially for seasons like these that bring additional stress. Give the gift of health and peace this year. Give the gift of Quiet Brain.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Laura. You're watching The3, and if you're a single mom, if you were raised by a single mom, or if you are fearing you're about to become a single mom, maybe you've never been married. Maybe you find yourself in a situation where you're pregnant and you're not exactly sure if you want to do this single mom thing. Well, I'm telling you, and I'm living proof that I have, and still to this day, am very dependent upon and love my mother and everything that she went through, and just seeing her, how she carried this before my stepdad came along. It's not easy. And so, you know, the Lord wants to be your husband. You probably have heard that phrase, but it's true. He wants to cover you. He wants to love you. He wants to protect you. And part of what has to happen is you then taking your heart that's been so broken and putting it into His hands. These are decisions that you have to proactively make. And so the book title today is The 10 Best Decisions a Single Mom Can Make. And every chapter begins with the word decide. Tell those moms out there the things. And this is your camera. You may just want to talk to a few of those moms. What are some things she has to decide?
You have to decide if you are going to do the next right thing, if you're going to respond, or if you're going to react. And it's a whole lot better to respond. And so when you're trying to make a decision, because our brain is offline and we're just feeling like so emotional and it's hard to decide. And so we have some tests in there, how to decide what to do in a decision that's come up. So one of it is it obvious? Is there an obvious answer to this decision? In other words, there are things that God has lined out in Scripture that He says, do this, don't do that. That's an obvious answer. And so I may feel like I need to fudge on it. I may feel like God's withholding. I can feel all those things that I think, but you know what? That's there and it's clear. So move forward in that. And then there's the other one of, is this my decision to make? Because sometimes I have to say, is this my monkey? Is this my circus? Or is it yours?
Is this my circus? I'm going to borrow that.
Am I taking something from maybe, like for instance, one of my daughters came home and said, I just got a speeding ticket. And I went, oh, And she said, yeah, and it's going to be $500. I said, yeah. She said, that's all the money I have in my savings account. And so there's the pitch. Hey, Mom, are you going to like rescue me from this? I said, you know, it's a really good thing you have that money in your savings account. Because if I would have paid that, we would have done this again. You know, Scripture says that. And so that was the thing where this was clearly her decision, her consequence. And had I rescued her from that, I would be saying, I don't trust you to be making good decisions. And so there's things like that where it's like, is it my decision? Is it not? And then for single moms, I would say, a lot of us are not in church. 85% of single moms don't feel comfortable.
Really?
Yep, they don't go.
Is it because of the judgment?
Yep.
That's
exactly it. Here's the thing. Not only do we feel judged by the church, and the church has not really known what to do about divorce and single moms for a while, but on top of that, we already feel not enough.
It's already in your head.
We already feel rejected. We already feel humiliated. So we walk in with that. And then if there's any judgment coming at them, they feel it right away. And so the best thing a church can do is to know that 1 in 4 homes all around you is led by a single mom. So you have this huge mission field right there. So invite them in. Make sure you have really excellent childcare.
Right.
Excellent childcare. Let those kids go to a place where they're safe, they're loved, they're nurtured.
Yes, yes.
And let mom sit for 1 hour. Don't ask her to come in and work with the kids unless she wants to.
Wow.
Let her sit for 1 hour and let her be fed. Let her hear from the Lord, and that'll help her make decisions. And then what a church can do that would be so cool, Pam Farrell and her husband did this with their church. They would set up a success net. So they'd bring this mom in and they'd say, hey, would you like for us to bring some people around you? So where are you struggling? And for me, it would have been, I don't know how to do car insurance. Is this good? Is this not good? How do I do that? So they will bring these people in. They say, we'll let them walk with you for 6 months or a year. Then we'll reevaluate.
Oh, that's a great idea.
But what do you need?
Yeah.
Do you need somebody to pick up your kids? Do you need somebody to help them with calculus? I mean, I thought calculus was a disease. I'm like, I'm sorry, your child has calculus. Have you seen a doctor? But yeah, to have somebody be able to do some math tutoring. So a success net to come under her and say, you're welcome. And those places where you're struggling and you're having trouble making decisions, we'll help you.
Right. I never tire of saying this. You hear it takes a village.
Yes.
But I've seen some of the people in the village and they don't go to church. It takes a church.
It takes a church.
That's what it takes. So I've mentioned twice now my bonus dad. It's interesting because I'm a daddy's girl, but I only got to see my dad every other weekend.
Yeah.
So 26 times a year, And my mom, after many years, several years of being single, and it was hard on us. I mean, I was the baby and my siblings went to live with my dad, and so for the first time in my life she was working, and I grew up in daycare.
Yeah.
And then along comes David, and he was in ministry. He was in television ministry specifically, and he started a TV ministry at the church where we were, one of the biggest churches in Nashville. And so I had to spend every Sunday afternoon as a bored 10-year-old in the TV station, watching them edit. And I just see the Lord's hand and how that's when he brought me into the world of media. I'd always, I'd done commercials and stage and all of that, but he brought someone in my life who I'm amazed at what the second chance he gave my mom, and I'm amazed at what it did for me. And till the day he died last October, I mean, we were very, very close. So talk to the moms, and then I want to jump into all your other books. Oh my goodness, but can you give some hope? God doesn't always choose for people to remarry, but there are people out there who God did want them to be married, and the divorce was not his idea, and he does want them to have a companion. What do you say to them?
Most single mom situations started in a committed relationship. They weren't expecting to be here. And the thing that I tell people about dating is make sure your children's tanks are full first.
That's good.
They have one mom. They have one parent that can be that consistent, solid parent. And so I chose that's going to be my focus. They needed to know there was something they could count on. One of my daughters said, when everything blew up, later on she said, everything I believed about my family was a lie. Now, it wasn't all a lie, but for her, did it feel that way? Did it look that way? Yeah, you thought your parents would stay together forever and that they love one another? It's like, okay, so we had several just consistent principles that this is what Wells do. Wells do this. And one of those things where when they did go for those visits, they would say, Mom, what are you going to do? They're worried about me.
Aww.
Everybody goes to this thing. Who's the one person not invited? The mom. How weird is that? So they would say, what are you going to do? And I would say, oh, you know what? This time I'm going to work on my book, or I'm going to go get my hair done, or I'm going to go have tea with somebody. They needed to know that I wasn't going to go do something stupid. And so we had that sort of consistency. And it's just, it's just like coming alongside them and saying, this home is going to be a safe place. That home and safe are synonymous with one another because they haven't been.
They need that.
So for the mom to make sure that their tank is full first, then be open for what God brings.
And then see, if he does. I mean, my mom actually did not even want that. And he was going around telling people, oh, I'm here painting her house because I'm about to marry her. And she was like, what? It's news to me, but the rest is history. All right, we got one segment left with Peggy, and I hope that you'll come right back for it.
Neuromatics Oil is a family of therapeutic-grade patented oil blends created by nutritionist and author Laura Harris Smith. Invented for her own lifelong journey for neurological health, Quiet Brain now helps those worldwide who suffer from insomnia, migraines, anxiety, seizures, tremors, and more. Quiet Brain contains oils like frankincense, myrrh, lavender, sandalwood, and others. Next, Happy Brain is a bright mood-lifting citrus blend and contains oils like lemon, lime, clementine, spearmint, and more. Users say it combats depression and even aids in weight loss. Next is Sharp Brain, Laura's Focus Blend, also used to improve cognitive memory issues with oils like coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, clove, and others. Each $69.95 bottle is a 10-week supply if used daily, or about $1 a day. And right now, buy 2 bottles and get the third one free, and get a free eye mask using the promo code on your screen at neuromaticsoil.com or at 1-855-784-3827. That's 1-855-QUIET-BRAIN.
I'm naturopathic Dr. Laura Harris Smith, and if you'll give me 10 days, Give It to God and Go to Bed can help you stress less, sleep better, and dream more. There are even links inside to my free 10 Days to Deeper Sleep and Dreams program and 10 Goodnight videos.
Can you close your eyes and just still listen to me?
The whole book takes place in your bedroom, and with chapter titles like The Junk Under Your Bed, The Treasures in Your Bedroom, and The Monsters in Your Closet. Give It to God and Go to Bed helps you learn to rest and hear God speak in dreams. Take back your sleep and dreams, my friend, with Give It to God and Go to Bed.
Hi everybody, welcome back to theTHREE. I'm Laura and we're here with Peggy Sue Wells, author of 30 books. Okay, we've covered 2. Actually, I think maybe 1. We've talked about another one. Let me read you some of these titles. This is great. The Patent. I love that. Chasing Sunrise. Homeless for the Holidays. The Slave Across the Street. The Girl Who Wore Freedom. And of course, we just said here, the 10 best decisions a single mom can make. Can you tell me really, what is The Patent about?
The Patent is my brand new book, and it is a adventure suspense. And I love writing fiction because you can take characters and put them in any situation. And you don't have to be politically correct. You just make them who they are.
Right.
And we watch them. But in this one, there is a patent for what we call the Meisner effect, which is in production now. But the country that develops it will be militarily invincible. So America's enemies come to the patent office. They get a little, espionage in there, steal the patent.
Oh boy.
Try to make it work, can't make it work. So they come and they kidnap the inventor. And now they're threatening him about his sister so that he'll work, because why would he want to? And then his sister back home, who's his only family member that is surviving, she is the FBI agent. This is her very first case, and she has lost her brother.
Oh my.
Has no idea where he is, and knows that she's got to catch him and find him before it's too late. And so we went ahead and self-published that one. And
Good for you.
Yeah, and I've got 3 more in the series that will launch every 6 months. For the next.
Okay, so then a minute ago you said you wanted to talk about another. I just kind of threw that in there. What was the other book that you wanted to talk about?
Oh, I think we were talking about another principle in the 10 Best Decisions.
Yes. Okay.
About the 5 hours.
Take that away. What do you want to say about that?
Here's what I would want to say. This is something that God really taught me, but I don't know if you have ever been in a situation where you go to a family traditional, holiday, and everybody emotionally abuses one another and then has pie. And not everybody's family is like that, but I grew up like that.
Oh, are we sisters separated at birth?
Okay.
Maybe we did. See, I knew I'd met you before.
Well, so here's the thing. I'm watching this happen as my kids grow up.
It's maddening.
Yes. And I'm like, God, what am I missing? And there's that verse, as far as possible, live at peace with one another. I'm like, I'm doing my part. God, it's all
I am not kidding you, Peggy Sue. The Lord has showed me this. I went to that same exact verse when I was like, Lord, you said to be at peace with everybody. I've done everything. He said, no. It says, if possible, so far as it depends on you, be at peace with all men. That's very freeing, isn't it?
It is freeing, but I also had to look and say, I'm the one common denominator in all of these. So is there something I need to learn? He's like, oh yeah, I'm so glad you asked.
I can own up.
So here's how it went. There was one Saturday morning when my daughter Hannah gets up and she's grousing around the house. So I made her pancakes to cheer her up.
Okay.
She puts the pancake around the plate. She does not get cheered up. So at that point, I'm feeling very rejected as a mom, right? Because she didn't cheer up. She didn't take my wonderful motherly. So in feeling rejected, I made up a story in my head. She would rather be anywhere else on Saturday morning than home stuck with mom because I stink as a mom.
Oh.
So I'm sitting there at the table with her, and so now I'm in rejection. Well, I don't like being in rejection, so I go into resentment. And then after I'm in resentment for a while, I'm like, well, fine. You're not going to look at me? I won't look at you. You're not going to talk to me? I won't talk to you. Because, that's mature.
Yes.
But anytime you've given or received, the silent treatment, that's being in resistance. So then from there, the next step is revenge. So you have, this is the 5 R's. So it's rejection, resentment, and then resistance, and then revenge.
Yes, yes.
So I'm ready for that. And so I'm thinking, fine, I'll just, hey, when are you going to clean that bathroom?
Yeah.
Going to get that homework done? So you can see the stilettos coming out of my mouth. Well, what's she going to do? Whoa, back up for mom, right? Mom's like really being goofy. So then she would put distance. And so then I would feel rejected again. And so then we would do the cycle over and over and over. And because we're in a family, or if you're coworkers or in a church or neighbors, you can do this over and over.
Yeah.
Until it's so broken, you can't fix it.
Right.
So God had been showing me this. And about the time I got ready to make the comment about her homework, I was like, oh, I am in revenge. So I said to her, Hannah, the story I'm making up in my head right now is that I stink as a mom. You'd rather be anywhere else on Saturday morning than here with me. And she kind of like blinks and looks up and she's like, Mom, I just found out that the boy I babysit has got leukemia.
Oh.
And so in these relationships, it had nothing to do with me. And so
you would have added so much pain on top already of what she was suffering through. Wow.
And what we're all trying to do is do our best, living the life that we have. People do what they do for their own reasons. It rarely has anything to do with me.
Right.
So what we learn to do is stick to the facts. So if I would have stuck to the facts that morning, I would have said, Hannah's grousing around the house this morning.
Yeah.
And we would have moved on, and it would have been fine.
Right.
Not too long ago, the baby in our family got married. And so when you have a lot of opinionated people working on that, so we were having the baby shower, and one of my daughters who was hosting it said, hey, is your friend coming? And I said, well, I invited her, called her twice, haven't heard back. Do you hear the hear my voice? Yeah. I'm in the 5 R's.
Right.
So she says to me, because we're working on this together, and she says, so Mom, what are the facts? I'm like,
My goodness.
oh, the facts. Facts are I invited her, called twice, haven't heard back. I'll call again. You see how it totally changes everything. And so that was part of what I learned about having a safe household and safe relationships. And we just stick to the facts. And as long as we stick to the facts, we stay out of the 5 R's.
I don't know if I want to hear you talk about safe or not. You parasail, skydive, snorkel, scuba dive, pilot train. Like, what don't you do? You've jumped out of a plane.
Oh, a couple of times. Love it. I don't even get nervous.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
And my youngest daughter, forbade me to do it when she was like 10.
Well, you might have to renegotiate that. I had someone ask one time, they're like, are you always that, adventurous? I'm like, honey, anybody that has 7 children is adventurous.
Okay.
And you would know.
It has something to do with that then. All right. It has been such a joy to talk to you. And I can tell you this, I haven't known you very long, but your 7 children are very blessed.
Thank you.
They are very blessed because no matter what life throws them from here on out, they saw a mom who let the Redeemer pick up the pieces and make something beautiful out of this. So again, if you're a single mom, you need to get a copy of this. You need to get one for a single mom that you know. She needs this. She has some decisions to make, and you can help her make them. Peggy Sue, come back and see us sometime.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. I'm Laura Harris Smith. We'll see you next time on The 3. Bye-bye.